did you become such a strong supporter of Israel? You're a great friend of Christians United for Israel. Where did this all start for you?
Well, CUFI does an incredible job. Let me just say, Pastor Hagee is an incredible friend and leader, and has made such a difference mobilizing millions of believers to stand for Israel. For me, there's several things. Some people ask, I get to ask this question a lot. How is it that a Cuban, Texan, Southern Baptist has become the leading advocate for Israel in the United States Senate? And, I'd say there's a couple of things. One, just growing up. I grew up in Houston. The elementary school I went to was half Jewish. And so when I was a little kid, I assumed that half of the world was Jewish. Half the kids half the people I knew were Jewish, so I assumed that was the case for the rest of the planet. I remember as a little kid, something that had big, profound impact on me was the Entebbe raid. And I was a little kid when that happened, but to me, the Entebbe raid was Israel saying, you may take our citizens hostage, and they might even die, but you're going to die. And I got to say, that was a very Texan approach to foreign policy. I have for a long time wished that America had the clarity and strength in dealing with our enemies that Israel has to display. My father was born in Cuba, fought in the Cuban Revolution. He was imprisoned and tortured in Cuba. And he fled oppression, came to America, came to Texas seeking freedom. When he got here, he was 18, he couldn't speak English, he had $100 in his underwear. I was raised as a kid sitting at my father's feet, hearing stories of being a freedom fighter. And America, we're a nation that's been a beacon of freedom, a beacon of those fleeing oppression and coming seeking hope. Israel is exactly the same kind of beacon. Both nations, both America and the modern state of Israel, were formed for people fleeing oppression and coming seeking freedom of religion, the right to worship and seek out the Lord God Almighty with all your heart, mind, and soul, and the right to live free of persecution. And if you look at Israel, there is a powerful, powerful connection between our two countries, a connection that is biblical, to be sure, but a connection that is also powerful from our national interests. Sometimes when people are discussing American military aid to Israel, it's characterized almost in the sense of welfare, of helping out this down on its luck neighbor. I think that completely misunderstands what's going on. We give every year about $3 billion in military assistance to Israel. The national security benefits we get from that are more than tenfold. If we tried to replicate the intelligence advantages we get from our close cooperation from Mossad, it would cost tens of billions of dollars. Their enemies are our enemies. Those who hate Israel hate America, and those who hate Jews hate Christians. And so we have an overwhelming national security interest in standing strongly with Israel, and I'm very gratified that we have righted that relationship and made clear on the world stage that America stands unshakably with our friend and ally, the nation of Israel.
Senator Cruz, one major reason that relationship has been righted is your tireless work here in the Senate on behalf of Israel and America's national security. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and let me say to all the members of CUFI, thank you for your prayers every day, and thank you for your voice. Speaking the truth is powerful, and it makes a difference.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks again to Senator Ted Cruz for taking time out of his very busy schedule to join us and talk about these issues that are so important for the U.S.-Israel relationship and for you.
Coming up, one Israeli soldier's miraculous story of survival. You will not want to miss this. Stick around.